Hey y'all, it is Saturday, April 5th. I had to look at my watch to tell me it's about 6 p.m. And I am so happy. I'm so happy. Okay, if you know Miss Rachel, you know why I'm saying that. I am so happy because I have the house to myself right now. It's so quiet. So quiet. My husband is out with the older two. He took them out to the movies. The baby is knocked out in her crib. So I am just very happy to be home without my children and my husband. Okay. So I love them, but it's just nice to not have them around. So, in terms of how I feel with chemo right now, I feel fine. The lasting effects of chemo are what the doctor said they would be. I had my last AC treatment on March 27th. So right now I'm in like the recovery week. And fatigue. I'm tired, and you could hear it in my voice. I'm still trying to get rid of a cold that I caught about 2 weeks ago. It's not leaving me. I've got a lot of phlegm. I don't feel as sick, but I do get that chemo sick feel if I don't eat enough. So I definitely try my best to stay on top of my nutrition. Granted, I am struggling with my nutrition because my ability in the kitchen is very mediocre, and my energy is also very because of the chemo, and so I haven't really been cooking much at home. Thank you to the kindness of friends that have been dropping off soup and dinner and things of that nature. So thank you so much. I definitely appreciate it. I really do. So I've been eating well in that sense, but I'm trying my best to cut down on the fast food because it's just not good. Cancer or not, it is just not good. So I just had a poke bowl, which I was like, Lord, I've been craving a poke bowl for months, and I'm like, oh my God, God help me, God help me. I don't want to get sick. Hope there's no bacteria, because you're not really supposed to eat raw foods when you are going through chemotherapy and whatnot. So unless you're cleaning the veggies and you're sure you've done your due diligence to make sure the food is clean, they caution you be careful going out to eat, making sure that you're eating in clean places, or just don't eat any sushi, stuff like that. So which I didn't eat any raw any raw meat. It was cooked shrimp and cooked salmon, but there were still fresh greens in the poke bowl, kale, spinach, cucumbers, mango. And so I'm like, oh Lord Jesus, I hope that this sits well in my stomach. But I am not going to talk about chemo right now. I'm going to shift gears because there was excuse me, there was a conversation that was sparked in one of my previous videos. I can't even begin to tell you which one, because at this point I have uploaded about 52 videos, because it's day 52 overall, if I'm not mistaken. So over 50 videos to comb through and find those specific comments is tough. But there was one commenter that was like, oh, I'm confused. You said you had stage 1 invasive ductal carcinoma, but you also said it went to your lymph nodes. So isn't that stage 2? So just to remind you, if you have not been with me on this journey since day 1, which was back in October of 2024, let me just give you a real quick rundown. I was supposed to do my annual imaging a lot earlier than I did, which was in July of 2024. I was supposed to do it a lot earlier, but If you know, I had a baby in January of 2024, so I could not do my mammogram when I was pregnant in December of 2023. So that's when I usually do my annuals, right at the end of the year. So I didn't do that. I waited. I had the baby. I was breastfeeding for a little bit, and I waited until I was really, really sure. And then in July of 2024, I went in and had my annual ultrasound and mammogram. And then I was asked to do extra imaging. I came back at the beginning of October, but I didn't think. I had a flu and COVID shot the last Saturday of September. And then that Wednesday, which was like October 4th or something, I had a biopsy. So, no, I'm a liar. On October 4th, I had my additional images. So when they had the additional imaging, the lymph node was lighting up, and they're like, well, you just had a flu and COVID vaccine, so we're not sure. So we need to do a biopsy. But even with the biopsy, we won't know about the lymph node until you have surgery. Okay. So fast forward, October 14th, I had my biopsy, and it was confirmed, and I received the phone call on October 17th, 3 days later. I appreciated not having to wait like a full week for that. So I got the diagnosis October 17th of 2024, and the diagnosis was as follows. It was left breast, 2 o'clock, about 12 centimeters from the nipple. It was invasive ductal carcinoma. It was stage 1, grade 2. It was hormone receptor positive, so it was ER. It was estrogen and progesterone positive, so the tumor was feeding off of my hormones, and it was HER2 negative. It had a Ki-67 score of 60 and an Oncotype score of 17. If you are in the cancer universe, then you know what these terms mean. If you've never had cancer and you're like, what do these terms even mean? Quick rundown. The Ki-67 marker is something that tells you how fast the cancer cells proliferate, meaning how fast do they multiply. And so a high Ki-67 score is 30%. My Ki-67 score was 60%. It was double the high. So that was very concerning because my cancer cells were growing at a really fast rate. It was grade 2, meaning again, it's not growing as fast as a grade 3, but it's not growing as slow as a grade 1. It's moderate, but still something to like, okay, we gotta move on this. We can't just hang out, right? It wasn't a stage 0 where you have a little bit of time to play with. It was invasive. The proliferation score was really high, so it was like, we gotta get moving on this. So I was told it was stage 1. When I went into surgery on December 31st, 2024, and I came out of surgery, my doctor did tell me, yes, it was invasive. Yes, it was stage 1. Yes, it did reach your lymph node. We took out 2 lymph nodes, and of the 2, only 1 tested positive for cancer cells. And that was it, So I was like, okay. So then I asked my breast surgeon, I said, so did the staging change? Because that can happen post-surgery. And she says, no, it's still a stage 1. And even on my surgical pathology report, the staging still says stage 1, but it's, it's like stage 1 NPTQ. It's like a bunch of letters because everything means something. So my dumb dogs, I really can't stand my dogs. I'm so sorry if you're a dog lover. I can't stand my dogs. Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi. Stop it. Stop it. Friend to God, I cannot stand my dogs. Pray for me. Whatever. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So the surgical pathology remained the same. And I want to find it. Where is it at? Because I got to a point when I started doing chemo where, you know, you kind of just, you accept your reality for what it is. And I stopped obsessing over the pathology. I stopped obsessing over knowing every tidbit of information. I stopped opening my beta gamma, the BCC club. I stopped opening up my my club binder. When you are in the BCC club, they give you a binder. So, but I'm curious. I want to see my pathology report. I got everything here. Okay, surgical pathology. Here it is. The report was ran on December 31st at 9:19 a.m. So as I'm reading it right now, the summary says diagnosis: left invasive ductal carcinoma grade 2, measuring 7 millimeters at 2 o'clock. So it was originally 6 millimeters, and I guess by the time I got to surgery, it had grown to 7 millimeters. Resection margins: macro metastatic carcinoma in one of 2 sentinel lymph nodes, which I knew, which puts the pathologic stage at PT1B N1A SN. Don't ask me to tell you what all those letters mean, but that was the pathological stage. Right, I had some issues with my right as well, but let me see. I'm trying to look. Synoptic report: mitotic rate overall grade 2, tumor size 7, lobular carcinoma, ductal grade 2. Yeah, it's still the category is still telling me it was a stage 1. So that's what I kept saying on my videos. Stage 1 invasive ductal carcinoma, 1 lymph node, blah blah blah. And so the conversation was confusion, but wait, that's grade 2. And I'm like, but I was told that was grade 1. So I was like, who best to ask than my oncologist? So I asked her and I said, hey, there was a conversation on one of my vlogs, because she knows that I vlog, and I explained to her what the confusion was, and she was like, okay. And so she kind of already understood where the confusion was, and she goes, okay, so what's happening is that there are 2 staging methods. And I'm like, ¿desde cuándo, Satan? ¿Desde cuándo? So she was like, one is like an anatomical staging, and one is another type. She said a word I didn't catch the word, but she said, according to your breast surgeon, yes, it was a stage 1, and it because they were using the other staging method. I said, well, according to you, now that you're seeing me post surgery, post everything has been taken out. Now we're just treating the microscopic cells that have definitely been left behind, because when the cancer got to the lymph node, my doctor told me it was 9 millimeters inside of the lymph node. She goes, that's very big for a lymph node. So when it had reached your lymph node, it was growing, and it was growing so much that it gave me neoplasm. I forgot what it was. Nodal extension, extranodal extension. Long story short, it made the node, which looks like a little beam sack, it made it explode. And so because the cancer was so big and it made the node explode, all these cancer cells went into my armpit. Okay, so she was like, in the other staging, she goes, you are a stage 2A. And I said, oh, okay. So the people that were commenting on that particular video, I don't know which one it was, but if you're a faithful watcher, which I believe one of the commenters is, because I've seen her comment on the other ones of my videos, so I'm hoping she's watching this. The We were both right. So if I am going toward what the pathology in terms of the surgery, my breast surgeon, it was still a stage 1, because I guess there are certain criterias that didn't fully make it a stage 2. But when you go to apparently this other type of staging that my oncologist told me about, then the staging did change, and it would be considered a grade, excuse me, a stage 2A. So I really wish that we could all just be on the same page. I don't know why the medical community has different staging criteria for an illness, because it just, I don't know, that's confusing, especially someone like myself, that I like to know what is going on with my body. I like to know what is happening, what is going to happen, what needs to go into my body, what's going to be coming out of my body. Like, I want to know these things. It's the only body that I have, and I want to know these things. And so it did bring a little bit of confusion. And for a moment, it gave me a little bit of pause, like, stage 2 cancer? It was a stage 2? Because the moment, I don't know if it's happened to you, those of you that are in the cancer verse, you're like, what the heck is a cancer verse? The cancer universe. That's what I call the cancer verse, the cancer universe. I don't know how you felt. Maybe comment down below. But I know when I heard that I had cancer, immediately your mind starts going to places that it's like, what? And I was already planning my funeral because it was just like, a cancer diagnosis legit rocks your world. And so to then hear that the cancer was more advanced than I had anticipated, and seeing the amount of interventions, medical interventions and treatments that I am getting, I'm just like, oh my God, is this going to end my life? Is this how I'm going to go out? And those questions, they do run through my mind, not going to lie. They don't run through my mind a lot, but they do run through my mind. And whether I'm sick or not sick, this is definitely reminding me, you gotta update your will, because I do have a will, but I never followed through with notarizing it and really finalizing it. So now I'm like, I gotta do it. I gotta write my will. I know this is not gonna take my life, and I don't want to cry, because when I cry, my nose gets stuffy, and I want to breathe. But I'm 46, gonna be 47, and I will be damned. Yes, I said it. If my kids have to do a GoFundMe for me. No offense if that is something that you have had to do. I always, when I hear someone that has a GoFundMe page, I try my best to contribute, because I know, like, when you're in a position of an unexpected death, you're like, oh my God, and the finances, and it's just, oh my God, it's a lot. I remember when my father-in-law passed away. That was such a hard time for us, for my husband, just because he had just started a new job. Financially, we were, where we are now, and it was just, I never realized how much, end of life costs are. And so I really appreciated all of our family that came through and helped out. But as for me, me, and only me, I can only speak for me. I will be damned if I depart this earth and I put my children in a position of financial hardship. My husband and I have worked very hard to get ourselves out of debt, to save money. More my husband than me. Let's just be honest. I like to spend money sometimes, not on like frivolous things, but just whatever. But he's more of the saver than I am, and so he has worked very hard to create a really nice nest egg for us, which is why going through this situation, having to be docked $500 every time I don't go to work for cancer treatment, getting these ridiculous $409 paychecks. Though it sucks, we are still financially okay, and I'm so grateful for that. But I just cannot, I don't want my kids to go through the stress of dealing with having to say goodbye to me, dealing with the finances of it all. Like, I want to be able to just have them deal with the hardship of saying goodbye, and then that's it. That financially everything is clear and laid out on the table. I don't want that craziness. So this whole situation has made me realize the importance of, okay, as much as you don't like talking about, what's going to happen in the future, it's important to have those conversations. It's important to be ready and prepared. So this whole situation has made me think about end of life. But there's a big chunk of me that is very confident in that this is not going to take me out, just because it was found so early. But I could walk outside right now and get hit by a car and it'll be done. But we thank God that has not happened, and we pray for his protection over my life, over my children, over my husband, over my family, that does not occur. But yeah, hearing my oncologist confirm to me, yeah, according to the staging method that I am using for you, you are stage 2A. So I was like, okay. And I accepted it. It is what it is. My head hurts now. But I just wanted to address that on this video. And crap, 24 minutes. I did not realize I was talking that long. I guess I had stuff to get off my chest. But, well, besides that, we're in good spirits. Try not to think too much about how I feel. Try not to think too much about how I want to feel in the future, but just taking it one day at a time, and that's it. So I'll see you on the next one. Bye.